Story 2: The Caretaker Job in Shoshone, Idaho. Craigslist gigs are usually sketchy, sure, but this one was something else. It wasn't the vague description that worried me. It was the location. Seeking overnight caretaker. Historic Hillcrest property, outskirts of Shoshone. Isolated but cozy. Must be okay with solitude. 500 night. It was November 2020 and I'd just been laid off from a warehouse job in Twin Falls. Money was tight and $500 for one night sounded like salvation. I emailed the contact, a man named Mitch, who replied quickly and simply: arrived by 6 p.m. No smoking. Do not enter the root cellar. Payment left on the mantle. Something about that last line gave me pause, but desperation beats instinct. I borrowed my cousin's pickup and drove through endless potato fields until I reached the property, an old clapboard farmhouse shaded by wind-rattled pine trees and leaning fence posts. It looked like it had been abandoned decades ago. Paint peeled from the shutters and the whole structure leaned slightly to the left. Yet the inside was oddly clean. The fireplace was lit. A single envelope sat on the mantel, 5 crisp $100 bills. No sign of Mitch. No instructions beyond a handwritten note: check windows hourly. Don't answer the knocking. I laughed nervously, assuming it was some local's idea of a joke. I explored the place: 2 bedrooms, a kitchen with antique appliances, and a narrow door beside the pantry that led to a locked stairwell. The root cellar. As the sun set, shadows stretched unnaturally long across the floorboards. The whole house seemed to sigh with age. Around 9 p.m., the knocking started. Slow, deliberate, from the back door. I peeked out, but no one was there. Then it moved to the side window. Again, no one. I checked the locks, turned on every light. Just before midnight, it changed. The knocks came in threes from every side: walls, windows, even the floor beneath me. I huddled by the fireplace, clutching a kitchen knife, when I heard something scrape against the cellar door. A dragging, splintering noise like bone on wood. Then a voice, childlike but hoarse. You saw me. Now you have to feed me. I screamed and bolted outside. The air was bitter cold, but I didn't care. I slept in the truck until dawn. When I finally got the courage to go back in the fire, it died. Everything was cold and wet, but the envelope was full again. Another $500. I took it and drove straight back to Twin Falls. A few days later, my cousin's truck broke down. The mechanic found something stuffed deep in the engine bay, an old rotted children's shoe with black mud and tiny teeth inside. I never replied to Mitch's follow-up email, but the post went live again last month. Same wording, same place, just new pay, 700 night. A story, 3 room for rent, Boston's Back Bay. You'd be surprised how many ghosts are landlords. In June 2019, I was moving to Boston for a summer internship at a publishing house, and I couldn't afford any of the standard rents. I combed through Craigslist until I found a listing that felt like a miracle: room for rent in Back Bay, Brownstone. 400 month, quiet, tenant preferred, no guests. 3rd floor, utilities included, too good to be true. But the photos looked clean and classic: dark hardwood floors, brick walls, and a cozy bay window overlooking Commonwealth Avenue. I emailed immediately. A woman named Ms. Laverne responded, offering to meet the next morning. She didn't have a phone number. I arrived early and stood outside the brownstone ornate iron gate, Gothic trim, completely silent. Ms. Laverne greeted me at the door. She was tall, pale, maybe 60, dressed like someone out of a Victorian portrait. Her voice was soft and clipped, and she never quite made eye contact. She said the room belonged to her late son David, and she found comfort in having someone quiet keep it company. That should have been my first clue, but I signed the lease desperate to stay close to the job. From the start, the room felt lived in. The closet had old boyhood trophies, pressed shirts that weren't mine, and a faint smell of cologne that lingered even after I aired it out. Still, it was cheap and I was broke. The first night I woke to footsteps, not above or below, inside my room. I flicked on the lamp. No one. But the closet door was wide open. I could have sworn I closed it. The next few nights got worse. I'd wake up freezing cold, even with the window shut always at 4:12 a.m., and the bay window curtains would be drawn open. Once I came home and found a Polaroid sitting on my pillow. It was a photo of me sleeping with a hand brushing my cheek. I stormed downstairs furious. Ms. Laverne sat in the parlor sipping tea, completely unfazed. I accused her of entering my room. She smiled gently and said, "David likes you. He's just excited." I left immediately and booked a motel. But curiosity dragged me back 2 days later to grab my things. The room had changed. The air was thick and musty, and the bed was made perfectly tucked tight like hospital corners. Every surface gleamed. That's when I saw it etched into the wooden window frame in jagged letters, "He lives here now." I ran. I didn't stop until I reached Tremont. A week later, I reported the incident to local police. They visited the address and told me it had been vacant since 2004. Ms. Laverne, deceased. Her son, David, found dead in that room at 4:12 a.m. after throwing himself from the bay window. The police said people sometimes break into the unit and fake being landlords, but that didn't explain the photo, the perfume, or the fresh lease copy I found later in my suitcase. It was signed by her, in red ink. I never posted my own Craigslist ad again, but I still get emails from someone named Ms. Laverne. Subject line, "David misses you." Story 1, the free piano in Pittsburgh. If something seems too good to be true on Craigslist, especially if it's free run, don't ask questions, just close the tab and walk away. In July 2018, I was living in a dusty second-floor walk-up in Lawrenceville, Pittsburgh, trying to start a career as a composer. I didn't have money for gear, but I scoured Craigslist religiously, hoping for a miracle. One evening, a new post popped up, "Free upright piano, must be picked up tonight. Urgent move, no delivery." It was a Yamaha U1, polished black and in beautiful shape. I called immediately. A woman answered, sounding tired but kind. She said her name was Ellen and the piano belonged to her late grandfather. She mentioned it gave her bad dreams and she just wanted it gone. A little odd, but I didn't care. I rented a U-Haul and drove across town. The house was a creaky 3-story Victorian off Penn Avenue, its windows dimly glowing from candlelight, not bulbs. Ellen looked pale and worn, her eyes always drifting behind me like she was watching something I couldn't see. She didn't help move the piano, just stood in the hallway murmuring a prayer I couldn't make out. Once loaded, she stopped me and said one thing: "If it plays at night, don't answer it." I thought it was just grief talking. Back at my apartment, I positioned the piano near the window, still amazed at my luck. For hours, I ran my hands over the keys. It had a rich, velvety tone that gave me chills. That night, around 2:30 a.m., I woke to a low note rumbling through the apartment. My roommate was out of town. I froze. The sound wasn't in my head, it was real. It played again, this time a quick 3-note progression, like someone practicing. I peeked out from the bedroom, heart pounding. The piano was playing by itself, keys pressing down with invisible fingers. I slammed the door shut and didn't sleep the rest of the night. Over the next few days, it got worse. The piano would play at exactly 2:33 a.m. each night, louder, more discordant. I tried locking the keyboard, it didn't stop. I tried moving it to another room. Still played. Then came the dreams. Dreams of drowning, of black water filling my apartment while the piano played a twisted lullaby, and a man in a soaked tuxedo watched from the ceiling upside down. I confronted Ellen. She finally confessed. Her grandfather had drowned in the Allegheny River during a steamboat concert in 1911. His spirit was said to have latched onto the piano, which had been on board with him. Ever since, the piano had been passed from family to family, never staying long. She thought giving it away would end it. That night, I burned sage. Didn't help. I tried throwing a blanket over it. The music came muffled but steady. On the 5th night, the piano played without stopping. And then the door to my bedroom creaked open. I couldn't move, paralyzed under the weight of something unseen. A cold breath passed over my face and the room stank of river mud and candle wax. I blacked out. When I woke, the piano was gone. No marks of dragging, no open door. Just a damp puddle on the floor where it used to be. 2 weeks later, a new Craigslist ad appeared. Different user, different city. Same piano, same warning.